rolling. All right. All right. Telling you like it is. Vikings Weekly. First one. Also have NF Pro Football Show every Sunday morning. It's on Spotify, iTunes, Anchor. Charlie hopped in the booth here. And Charlie's on the screen right here. Whoa. It's a little unprepared. That's what happens when we do it outdoors. Even though the dog's going to pop in here. So Charlie just joined us in the booth. Charlie is a biter, so he could ruin this in 5 seconds. Charlie's very passionate, so but he's a Viking fan, so we're happy about that. Charlie likes the Vikings. Tough loss for the Vikes yesterday. We're used to saying that. Although we have more wins, fifth and most amount of wins in the last 50 years, so we're good. But still, tough loss. Glad to see Mike Zimmer still hasn't had a man's clock before the half. My name's Dave Scholler, by the way. I'm a Viking fan from up in New York. Been a Viking fan since the Steelers-Vikings Super Bowl, and my grandfather told me he's rooting for the purple guys, and we've been rooting for him ever since. But we still could have a magic clock before the half. Brad Childress was the worst I've ever seen at it. And yesterday they have one timeout left. And once it doesn't work on first down, you run the ball twice or you stay in bounds twice. Abdullah gets out of bounds. We don't get anything. They get it back. They score. It's a difference in the game, that kind of thing, because that doesn't happen. You should be getting off the field there with a score or no loss of points. Same thing at the end of overtime, which we'll get to the crappy replay rule, which is the same crappy replay rule. Charlie. Same crappy replay rule in baseball. You know, you sit there and it's an obvious overturn. Mike Pereira's on there, sees Dalvin Cook's butt on the ground, and boom. We have a situation where it's no fumble, but they call it a fumble anyway. A ref also, I'm a former high school ref. The referee does not throw his beanbag down. The ref right there sitting there, he's watching the play, doesn't even call it a fumble, and then just waits till about 2 minutes of a scrum for the ball and then points in the other direction with all the excitement of the crowd. So great job by the ref and the crew, and just totally idiots. And then it's obvious the guy's butt is on the ground, so we just ruined that. So we're 0-1, and that's the kind of game that could cost you, especially with our situation. We're going into the Cardinals. Could be 0-2 easily. The Cardinals are a good team. And I really like Mike Zimmer, but saying that is on Kirk Cousins that first half, yeah, he holds the ball too long. We all know that about Kirk. But at the same time, we also know that the offensive line was hideous and the penalties were hideous, and that's not on Kirk Cousins. And the proof of that is in the second half, the offensive line stopped making those penalties, and we moved the ball. But that loss does hurt because you should at least get a tie or with a missed field goal there or a victory. And so that one hurts. Special teams, I thought played pretty well yesterday. It was great to see Joseph make that kick. So I'm proud that he made that kick. It looks like he'll maybe have some confidence, and that's a really good thing. So that's a positive to even get into overtime in that situation. Kirk took us down the field. And by the way, I think Kirk Cousins in the Viking fan sites. These fans are insane. So you're blaming Kirk Cousins for things? Did he kill Kennedy too? Was Kirk Cousins like relatives in Texas that day in 1963, November 22nd? I mean, this guy gets blamed for everything. I mean, seriously. I mean, it's just unbelievable. So, yeah, we know he's not a top 5 quarterback. We know he's probably not even a top 10 quarterback, but he could certainly win with him. So, the rest of the team's got to play better. Our run game didn't do anything. Delvin had a couple of good runs, but really wasn't a true indication of the average that he had. But it's a tough loss. Like I said, special teams, I give a good grade. I think they did a nice job. I give them a B+. Defensive line came to life late, but the defense overall I thought could have been better. We let them get a lot of momentum in the first half on a couple of third down plays, and same thing in the overtime there. All right, so a couple of times in second and long, we let them get big runs up the middle on draws to cut it to third and manageable. We had 2nd and 20 twice, and they got 13 yards both times. That's a bad job. Also, I thought offensively, I'd give us a C+. Our offense was not great yesterday. It was too inconsistent. Obviously, Hill was atrocious on the line. I mean, he probably had 4 or 5 penalties. And again, we have 17 penalties called on us. Not all of them accepted, of course, but it puts us in a really tough situation because now you don't want to go 0-2, and you're going out to Arizona. And obviously, Arizona is one of the best teams of the day yesterday, just crushing the Titans in the Titans' home field. And, it's funny, in the preseason, a lot of people weren't talking about the Cardinals, but obviously they're serious to be dealt with, and they really just smack the Titans around. So this is going to be tough. But that clock management for the half is the thing that frustrates me the most, because that's something that's in your control. A bad control by the ref, not. But once it doesn't work out on first down, if you throw a screen pass or whatever kind of pass you throw, you got to get out of there, and you got to run the ball twice. They'll use a timeout, and then they'll run another one. We'll take another 40 seconds off. Boom, and then we can basically punt the ball away. They would have had about 20 seconds left. Instead, we give the ball with plenty of time. They go down the field. They get a touchdown before the half. Just horrendous coaching in that situation. So that was very disappointing to be a Viking fan on that day, of course. But then again, that's Viking football. Don't lock it. So my wife just locked me out of the house. My wife just locks me out. Sorry about that. My wife just hit the door outside and locked me out of there. So I had to yell out there, but we don't care. We don't edit it here on the show. So so tough loss for the Vikes, and we got to find a way to keep Murray in the pocket and do a decent job. I thought we have some depth on our defensive line, but I don't feel like our defense was up to snuff yesterday. I thought our corners would have been better. I didn't want to give away Waynes, and I thought the two rookies we had last year got a lot better at the end of the year. I know Gladney had some legal trouble, and we gave away Hughes. I thought they did a pretty decent job, and Breland looked like garbage yesterday. It's time for him, but and then of course, immediately after he gets burned, he's out for the game, and he's out and he's hurt. It always seems like guys are always hurt after they make terrible plays. So tough loss for the Vikings yesterday, but we gotta get our head up and we gotta move forward. I just don't like the Zimmer blaming Kirk Cousins. I really think that's a bad move. It gives excuse and it justifies crap in the locker room. I'm really surprised that a veteran coach like Mike Zimmer, who worked for people who are good coaches and is a friend of Bill Parcells, would do such a foolish thing. You're going to blame that game on Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins took that team down the field and tied the game again with no timeouts. And the thing is, that's the worst thing you could do is try to divide your team. And this kid, Monday, he's not ready, right? So let's hold it up here. Play calling I thought was okay. We didn't do any of those, third and inches and throw it 50 yards in the air for an incompletion. A couple of gutsy calls on 4th and 4 there. Obviously, we keep throwing that slant. Teams are going to pick that up on those 4th down situations. But I don't know. I'd like to see us run the ball a little better. I thought the offensive line, I'd give them like an F yesterday. I thought they did a horrible job. I mean, Cookie got a couple of good runs, but all those penalties, I'm sorry. I'm not going for that. But again, NFL replay rule is horrendous and, bit us in the ass again. But it's the same rotten replay rule that baseball has where it has to be overturned. You'll see plays in baseball, big baseball fan, and you'll see a ton of plays where guys are safe by it's obviously safe, but it's not enough to overturn it. So but again, we put ourselves in a situation. Cook shouldn't put the ball on the mat, just because the ref doesn't throw out the beanbag flag like he's supposed to. It's just a disgrace on both ends, and we even got Mike Pereira saying he was down, but it didn't matter. It bit us up, and I expected to win that game, so that is a bad loss. I know you say, well, we're on the road. And I would be glad we lost at a conference on the road, but still, you got to win that game because Arizona's next. In football, this year we get one extra game, but thank God the whole division lost. But that's why it even hurts even more because you're in that game, you're going to get a tie or you're going to win the game, and we lose. And we overcame all that crap, played horribly, and you overcome all that, and so you can get away with it. But at the end, Cook's got to be better than that. The defense has got to be tired. Defenses in overtime are always gassed. That's why the rule doesn't give you a full quarter. We got to be better. And Cook puts the ball on the ground, and even though he's on the ground and he's down, it doesn't matter. It shouldn't be in that situation in the first place. Leave it up to rotten referees. Got the Chris Carter jersey on today, by the way. Got the Viking shades. All he does is catch touchdowns. But we got to be better. It's just that simple. But here we are. We're sitting at 0-1. I thought Kirk was okay. Again, the NFL today is so full of cheap numbers for quarterbacks. I mean, they throw the ball 4 yards and, they get all these completion percentages, but it's such a league now where you can have a day of, 15. Yesterday at one point, and I love Teddy Bridgewater, by the way. Shout out to him for playing well yesterday. My son's a Bronco fan. So, but, to be 15 for 20 for, 130 yards, I mean, what are you really doing at that point? When your attempts is, 6 yards an attempt. I mean, what are you really doing at that point? You really like saying hike and handing it off at that point. So for me, yeah, it's great. Everybody puts these numbers up, but who's not putting up gaudy numbers? I mean, Aaron Rodgers was awful yesterday, so that was good. Good to see him. I'm sure he'll have someone else to blame in 5 minutes. Talk about retirement. Maybe take less money, Aaron. You won't have that many problems. Bears looked like crap last night, although that defense gave up big plays. Nobody didn't really drive on them as much. It was big plays. So the Bears are still going to be a problem. Lions showed a little bit of guts coming back, but I think that's where you got to rely on it. But we just got a tough schedule. We got the NFC West in our schedule. That is going to be rough. And we have the AFC Central. This is not a bargain. And then the Vikings were fortunate because there are 3 other games. One of them was with the Bengals. And you got to take advantage of that. Joe Burrow by the end of the season will be really good. I thought he was pretty good yesterday, but we got to be better than that. And we got to win that game. I mean, it's not a tragic loss. It's on a scale of 1 to 10. It's a 6 or a 7, but that's a game you should win. So now you got to go to Arizona. So, I was hoping to get out of this with a split, and now we got the gun to our head, and we could be 0-2. I'm a big schedule person. I believe in the flow and the ebb and flow of a schedule. And here we are. Like I said, could be 0-2. Get out of the gate 0-2. The numbers start to go against you severely, and it's a big game for the Vikes this week. And like I said, Murray, obviously an excellent game. The Cardinal stopped Henry, obviously, yesterday, so I'm sure they're going to be ready for Cook, and our offensive line has to be better. And maybe we should spend some money on that instead of Everson Griffin. I mean, I still don't know what the hell we're doing there. I guess we're getting some depth on the defensive line. But, don't really need it. An unnecessary pickup. Nonetheless, please watch the NFL show every week, NFL preview every week. Or it's on Telling It Like It Is here. Like I said, we're on Spotify. We're on iTunes. Also on Anchor. You can catch us on YouTube. Okay. Be joining the Viking groups in about a week or 2. And we're on Twitter as well. Same thing, Telling It Like It Is. Definitely let us know how you feel. I'd love to see some passionate Viking fans come on the show. As long as you're a Viking fan who knows your stuff, we'll give you a couple of simple trivia questions to see if you know your stuff. And, we'll go from there. And it's just something that I'm really looking forward to doing this year. So it's a very exciting time of year to be back. And, we're gonna get a chance to see you next time. And it's going to be a fabulous season. I'm hoping that I'm expecting good things from us this year, but that wasn't a good start, especially when we could have won that game late. So that's all for this week on Vikings Weekly. I'm Telling It Like It Is with Dave Scholler. And take care of yourselves next time. We'll see you on the Sunday preview show.